All right. I appreciate everybody coming through. Just a couple of tunes in the morning. If you try to catch the replay, you feel as though there's something missing in the replays because I got to take the songs off um, after the live stream has commenced. So I have to basically make sure the songs are off because copyright infringements, things of that nature. Um, so it's best for you to check the live streams out when the live streams happen. So speaking of which. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody is okay. I hope everybody, um, you know, is taking care of themselves. This Rona didn't go nowhere; it's still here. So, uh, you know, without popular belief, please take care of yourself because there was a lot of travel going on. A lot of people saying should they get the vaccine, should they not get it? What I'm saying it's totally up to you. Um, what I'm saying? It was really that serious. They make everybody get it, but they're going towards that sooner or later. Um, but yeah. So how's everybody once again they doing? I'm doing pretty all right myself. Um, I got some people sending me messages about the last stream about what I did, talking about the state of affairs with people and dating and all of that stuff. Like I said, once again, these are my opinions, and I did answer those questions or what people asked of me. They sent me messages directly, and we had those conversations if there was one to be had. But what I realized, what I'm starting to realize as I get older, is that before you wanted to be right about a lot of stuff, right? Like, and what I mean is about that is like when you were younger, like, so let me take it. Let's take it at 10. At 10 years of age, I'm just saying for myself. At 10 years of age, I wanted to know things. I wanted to be informed of things. I was very trying to figure out the world. At 15, the things that I started to learn about the world, I figured though it wasn't fair because even though you knew things, you controlled absolutely nothing. You had no power whatsoever. You started to know, you started to get knowledge, but you couldn't apply it, right? So at 18, you're starting to get a little bit more control of your life, but you realize it's not really control because you really can't do nothing at 18. Let's just be honest, right? 18, you're an adult, but you can't do anything. Can't do anything really until you're 21. At 18, you can die for your country. I was in the military, so I can attest for that. But at 18, you can die for your country. At 18, you can go to jail for life. At 18, you can get a job, but you really can't get a good job. You can't really start off something that's self-sufficient where you can just live like on your own, right? Like back when when you were seeing like your family members. When I was growing up in the 80s, I would see like my uncles and my aunts at 18 leave the house, right, with a high school diploma, right? Because I remember that. Like it was like get your high school diploma at a minimum. And then like for you to go to college was a luxury. Like it was the United Negro College Fund. I remember those days. I remember those days. You know what I'm saying? It's had a lot of rain here listening to you. My sump pump pumped alarm went off in the basement. Yikes! With wet clothes and water. Yeah, yeah. Hey, be safe with that. You know what I'm saying? It's been raining over here. It's going to rain for the rest of the week over here. It just started raining today. So it's been raining. We didn't had like 2 weeks of just hot, humid weather after it was raining for 3 weeks, and now it's raining again. So be safe out there, especially y'all people in Louisiana. If y'all watching, I hope y'all are doing well. You know what I'm saying? I heard that hurricane tore up some stuff. So I hope y'all are doing well. Our hearts and minds and prayers are with you also. Um, but back to what I was saying, and this is just me reminiscing and looking back at a lot of things, is at 18, by the time I turned 18, and this is in 99, This is September of 1999. I joined the military because I couldn't get like a regular job that would suffice to take care of me getting bills, all that. So at 18, you can't do nothing, right? That ended in the 90s. That was over. You know what I'm saying? With like, that was over. After Reagan, there was Bush Senior, and that was over. Reaganomics destroyed 18-year-olds leaving their house, getting a job, living in a first apartment ever. It was over. It was over. So now you're thinking, okay, so when can I do this, right? So I joined the military, luckily, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't understanding how it worked, but with my benefits, everything included, 18 years old, making about $36,000 a year, starting off, that's not bad, right? So when I'm in the military for about a year and some change, I'm 19. Now I'm 19. I got friends that went to college. They still living with their parents. I got friends that are working part-time jobs. I got friends that went to some type of trade school. They're working a job, but they're struggling to make ends meet while I'm not being financially responsible with money because I ain't got to pay any bills but my car, right? Okay. Now I go on the deployment, right? Go on a deployment. Go on a deployment. Now it's the year 2000, right? Well, in 19, I turned 19, 19th birthday, met a lovely lady, had a good time. That's all that. So as I'm going into December, we go into a deployment. Deployment means we go overseas. Now I'm 19 years old, first time overseas. I'm hitting all these European countries, kicking it, right? In Barcelona, March, in Barcelona. Love Barcelona. Great place, Barcelona. First woman I thought I would ever get, well, second woman I thought I'd get married to. Met her in Barcelona. Love this woman to death. The USS Cole, we stay an extra week. The USS Cole gets bombed in Yemen. No one knew for even the longest, even the military, this would be a precursor to 9/11, but we won't get there in a second. Now, it's 2001, March, Barcelona. Remember that. Mark the date. Got it? Cool. Now I'm going into the summer, enjoying my summer, just came off deployment. September comes, 9/11 happens. I'm going on a vacation back to Barcelona. Go over there to have a good time. Last time you could walk on a plane with someone walking you all the way up to the boarding gate. Not even 20 yet. Been only in the military for like almost going on 2 years. Already did a deployment. Come back from meet the ship over there. We're in the Gulf, dropping off troops. All hell breaks loose. I'm 20. Seeing war, seeing how the world really works to a certain degree. Okay. The New York skyline changes forever before I hit the age of 20. So now 9/11 happens. This happens. All this hell breaks loose. War on terrorism. We dropping bombs. We going there. Everything's different. Come back from all of that, rolling into there, takes my advancement exam in September. I made rank, which is I went up a rank. Now I'm not making 36,000 with benefits. Now I'm making about almost 40,000 in benefits. But now I'm going overseas and I'm being stationed in Japan, going to a whole nother country. Now I get to this other country. Guess what? Hey, I'm over here. So 2002, February 2002, I'm in Japan. I'm in Japan, February 2002. Crazy, isn't it? Then the next time I hit the mainland of the United States isn't until 2005. That's when my uncle passed away. Had to do Monday and Sunday twice because I was in the Gulf again on my third ship that I was on. Back in the Gulf again for the third time. Three different ships, three different platforms, three different times I done went to the Gulf. Now it's 2005. I have a girlfriend, three kids, and a child that was just born, about 8 months. And you're probably asking yourself, how old am I at this time? 24. So 24 years old, there was a time jump. There was a skip from 18, trying to make it, trying to get it. Now I'm 24, I have a family. I go to see the man that I knew as my uncle that helped raise me when I was young, when my mom was going through her struggles and her things that she was going through in life. Um, and family members that looked out to a certain degree within their power that they could. And I got the news because my wife now, but my girlfriend at the time, um, she sent me a message by email, because we had email on the ship now, that my uncle done passed. So she worked with my aunt to get the Red Cross message. I just left Dubai. We're in the middle of the water. We're on our way back to Japan. They flew me off the ship on a helicopter back. What's going on, Shai? What's going on, She? Back to Dubai. Then I go from Dubai to Bahrain. Then I'm thinking I'm going to go either to Germany. I'm going to go eat. I'm going west because I'm from Baltimore. So man, bam, bam, I hit it right. Wrong. I go all the way in the other direction. I leave early Sunday morning. I arrive in Japan on Monday. I leave Japan Monday finally. So basically, I go from the ship in the middle of the water back to Dubai, take a flight from Dubai, a military flight from Dubai to Bahrain, get on Cathay Pacific, which is a great airline, by the way, flying to Hong Kong, get a 2-hour layover, go from Hong Kong to Osaka, Osaka to Narita, Narita all the way over to Hawaii, Hawaii to California, California to Chicago, Chicago to Baltimore. So I left on Sunday, got to Japan on Monday afternoon, got to Hawaii on Sunday afternoon, got to LA Sunday night, ended up in Chicago, on Sunday evening in LA, ended up in Chicago Sunday at night, caught the overnight flight, and basically ended up in Baltimore at 4 o'clock in the morning. Driving out of BWI, see my family, to bury my uncle. And we all know how we are as black folk. We be doing the most when someone dies. When someone's getting married and someone dies, we do the most. So, needless to say, I stayed there for like 3 weeks. My wife, which was my girlfriend at the time, brought my youngest son over so everybody could see him, meet him, and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like a baby when you're going through something to make you look on the bright side of life. For some reason, it always works. I don't know. It's just a thing we as human beings have. So now I go back to Japan, and there's no rest for the wicked. And I'm gone again because I have to decommission the ship, basically put the ship in retirement, leave again, do 2 years, go on a whole bunch of deployments, not back to the Gulf. And I finally get out the Navy in 2007. I'm out of the Navy in 2007. And it's December 2007. Meet my wife because she went over there to hang out with one of my friends while she was waiting for me to get out, see the family. My youngest son is 4 years old because she took him with him. The other kids were in school doing their thing. And what happens after that is me and my wife get married January 31st, 2008. And that is the last time I am in the continental U.S., period, until 2016. So between 2008 and 2016, I have not stepped foot in the United States of America. And the reason why I did it, because it was my 35th birthday. And it was very significant for me because my mom passed at the age of 34. So I made sure I went back home to see how the city has changed, to see how things are. Now, creeping up on 40 in 28 days, that was 5 years ago. And as I look back in hindsight in 2020, I had every excuse in my life to not be nothing. You know, both my parents passed, no brothers or sisters. I'm an only child. I had every excuse in the book to not be great. I had every single excuse to allow the generational curse of dysfunction, debauchery, and foolishness take me out or creep into the next generation. But I made myself a promise, and my mom, when she was, going through her terminal illness of, the cancer that she had, she basically made me a promise that not only that I survive life, but I live life. She wanted me to have regular people problems, like paying taxes, um, you know, talking to my kids and going to weddings or holding grandchildren and things of that nature. My mom was never fortunate to meet her grandkids. She wasn't fortunate enough to see me grow up past the age of 12. Now, years later, um, all the teachings that she gave me, where she couldn't be as soft as she wanted to be, is because she knew something that I didn't know at the time, and she was preparing me for what life is. I remember my mom told me when she told me straight up when she was passing and she was going to die. She told me that she was going to die and there wasn't no coming back, and she's made a peace with it, but she's got some last things that she has to tell. She has some things. And she told me this, and she told me this, and she said, when you are grieving, do it in privacy. Do not do it in the eyes of the public, for you cannot see your enemies clearly with tears in your eyes. So I didn't understand what she meant, but I followed her instructions to the T like a proper, obedient child would, because my life depended on it, and it did. I didn't know how much it did, but it did. And I kept those words to heart. And the person that you are listening to today or see before you today would not be here with all these life teachings. That's not something a parent would want to tell their child, but nonetheless, it had to be said. I can say for certain my mom wasn't the best of the greatest moms in the world according to the standards if I ran down her resume. But listening to the feats and what she's done and what she accomplished in the last half of her life, because the first part of the first 6 years of my life or 5 years of my life as a child, uh, I remember, and then I remember the transition, and I remember we was getting some headway, and then bam, she was gone. But now I look back on it, and I said certain things, and I look at certain things, and I say to myself, you know what? How would you turned out if these things wouldn't have been? Would you be who you are now? Would you have evolved into such person of which you are? Now, I would be lying if I could say if I can go back and change things or if I could make better decisions, would I be better off? And the answer is we all could say that. And we will all say that because there's no one that lived with regret of the mistakes of the after effects or whatever. But who would I be right now? Now, if I'm going on the almost the halfway point of me walking this earth, you know what I mean? Well, let's just say might as well a halfway point, right? Because, you know, 40 years from now, it'll be 80, right? And most of us don't live past 75, about 80. So anything past 65 is extra credit from what I've been hearing. Body starts breaking down and things of that nature. And all that stuff that you did when you didn't take care of yourself starts catching up with you. But let's just say I'm at the halfway point. Let's hypothetically say that. So how do I feel about myself and my accomplishments? Well, the worldly accomplishments mean nothing because there's no legacy to pass down. So for a man, it means absolutely nothing, right? So my thing is this is that I have children and two of my sons, they have children, and I'm a grandfather. Now I'm not as happy about it as you may think I am, but nonetheless, and it's nothing against them or their children. It's just that I wanted them to wait, honestly speaking, just a little while longer. No, just as a selfish wish of mine. Wait until I get into my 40s to have to have your children. So one, you can enjoy because most people their brains ain't developed until they're about 25. I'm gonna just be honest with you. That's why I went from 15 when you're really hitting into your puberty swing. 25 is when you start developing, fully growing, and you're in the beginning of your prime because that's where it's right. 35 is when things starts to creep on down. You starting to get over that back nine. Things start to hurt. Things start to whoa. What's this? You start to realize and look back at your life and realize the mistakes you made and when you're not where you need to be. 45 is like, oh God, what was I doing if you ain't got it together? And 55 is you already stuck where you at, and 65 is retirement. So if I'm saying these things and if it's scaring the hell out of you, because it scares the hell out of me, and I'm just being frankly honest about it. 40 is a real thing. You don't got a lot of time um, when we're talking about life. Am I happy with my performance so far from where I came? Hell yeah, I am. I ain't supposed to be here to a certain degree if you count up the odds. One misstep, and I wouldn't even be here. And even the route that I took, you know, I joined the military. You know what I'm saying? Good thing I was in the Navy, right? But even still, you can die there too. You can die walking outside. You can die doing anything. You can die choking. I had a homeboy. This man was cool as hell. Woke up one day, took a jog, had a headache, came back, died. Brain aneurysm, blood clot in the brain. Gone. in his prime. In his prime. It's time to go. It's time to go. You know what I'm saying? Nothing you can do about it at that point in time. But you can mitigate it. Don't put yourself in precarious situations. And enough with the gloom and doom. Let's talk about something that's on a lighter note. I worked my hardest my whole life to make it so that my children wouldn't have to go through a tenth of the crap that I went through. It's sad that you don't understand what the basic necessities of life is and provisions of those or providing those when that's the bar in which you want to reach and think that you've done a good job as a person or as a parent. My kids never had to worry about certain things like that because I would take on the responsibility. I did not want them to ever suffer anything. Now, there's a difference between spoiling your children and providing for your children. Um, and I understood certain things. Would I sacrifice for my kids? Yes, I would. And I've done that multiple times, and I will do it again within reason. Adults are a whole different story. I don't enable ain't shitness because there was no ain't shitness enabled with me because the second that I was ain't shit when I was growing up, I might not be here. I realize how cruel the world can be. I understand how cruel the world can be, especially to men children, especially to men, young boys. I got all boys, no girls. I'm proud of my sons for what they've done because I don't technically worry about them to a certain degree. I live in another country. Yeah, it's hard. Hell yeah. Harder than what you may imagine. Harder than you can fathom. It's one thing to live in your own country where you kind of try to figure out the rules, but it's another thing trying to live in a whole nother country where the culture's different, the language different, and the rules are different, especially for someone that's not from that country. Being an immigrant is a hard thing to do. It's hard. There's a lot of sacrifice. There's a lot of things that you have to make. There's a lot of holidays and things like that. When my grandmother died in 2019, in November-ish, and I wasn't able to go to the funeral. Things of that nature. So it's not easy. Can anybody do it? Hell no, you can't do it. Very select few can. Because if you're struggling where you're from, you need to stay where you at until you get that master. So it's been a long, hard road. So from the age of 20, to be honest with you, from the age of 19, December 2000 is when I first left. Well, not the first time I left the country, but for a substantial amount of time. So December of 2000 was the last time I spent time in the U.S. as a full calendar year, almost. So New Year's Eve of 2001, I went to the Vatican and for Mass, New Year's Eve, and then we ended up in Pisa. And I can't tell you what happened, but it was a great time because I woke up the next morning with bushes and a nice young lady. outside the Leaning Tower. So 6 months, didn't come back until June of 2001. Told you about the 9/11 thing. So I only spent 6 months in the US in 2001. And in 2002, I was gone. Until 2005, spent 3 weeks, gone again. Until December 2007, February 2008, back to Japan from December 2007 to February 2008, back in Japan, and didn't touch down in the US again until September 2016. Till about the second week of October, then I left. So I've spent more time outside of the country, living outside of the country, being around other people of other cultures than people in my own country. So at the age of 40, I've spent half of my life outside the country. So when I first was developed, me being a man, going through my manly struggles and things of that nature, and really getting a rein on who I was as a man, I was already outside the country. And this is not any bragging. This is not me just, pushing out bravado. This is me having a conversation came Jason. I had to go on the odyssey of manhood. I had to change my whole environment so I could thrive and start off fresh and new, put my back up against the wall because I would rather fail trying to conquer a new environment to succumb to the environment that I knew better to be in. If that made any sense at all, I hope it did, because the way it sounded in my head, the way it came out of my mouth, I'm not too sure. But I hope you understand. And as I sit up here and I stare down the barrel of these 4 decades that I've walked on this earth, my youngest son is going to be 17 this year. He's got a year away from being 18. Because of this pandemic, it stole his teenage years, because it's forced him to grow up faster than he would, want to. Forced him to be more disciplined. It doesn't have that leeway. And this will affect a lot of the children. This will affect a lot. I see it on my son's faces. I mean, we talk about a lot of things, but This will affect a lot of the kids, um, and the way that we view the world, and the standpoint of how we thrive in information and knowledge and things of that nature. How we communicate, how we deal with our relationships with one another. In the 4 decades that I've been living this earth, I've seen people go from writing letters and learning how to write in cursive in school, to talking on the phone, to call waiting, the three-way, to pagers, to no more phone booths, to calling cards, to internet, to chat rooms, and microphones, and VoIP, and Skype was the thing. Now it's whatever, to the first iPhone, to the Androids, to the social media apps, from MySpace to Facebook to Twitter to Instagram, now to TikTok. Now it takes you a while. Like, people won't talk to each other on the phone, but they'll text all day. Like, you'll call a person and they won't answer, but they'll send you a book. And as much as everybody types and texts, it's like spelling, grammar, and punctuation is a lost art form. Sometimes you want to take a break from the rat race. Sometimes you don't want to contact anybody. I remember back in the day, it was easy. Just take the phone off the hook. Take the phone off the damn hook. I remember that. Take the phone off the hook. You don't want to talk to nobody. Matter of fact, put the tape in the answering machine. Go to sleep. Remember, you could send calls straight to the answering machine. And if people really cared about you, they'd stop by your house. Is it okay to be by yourself sometimes? Absolutely, yes. Is it okay to stay by yourself all the time? No, it's not. Our relationships with each other has to do better. We have to be better. We have to get better. What I've learned, and I had to teach myself this, is when I was 10, I wanted to learn. When I was 15, I started to learn, and I didn't like what I was seeing, and I had to get away. At 18, I realized that there's no place for you to run because the world's 75% water, 25% land. At 20, I embarked on my odyssey, living in another country, understanding their culture and how it goes, and delving into the history. At 25, I had my kids, had my youngest son, um, and became a family man, and had to start learning discipline and things of that nature. At 30, I'm a husband. I got a career. People depend on me to move. And at 35, I go back and visit once I came and see how the whole city has changed. Now at 40, a year away from my youngest son officially being a grown man and having, you know, grandkids, and Oldest two sons don't live near me, but they live near each other. Now I'm looking at the back nine, working on generational wealth, making sure my family is straight and doing what they need to do. What's going on, CJ? What is more important for that? What else do I have left? What do I want to accomplish? What do I want to do? Where does my creativity go? How do I plan my day? Is it planned about getting the task done? Am I enjoying the process of the journey? Or am I just working to be working, to punch a clock, to provide, so on and so on and so on? I want to live as long as possible to see my kids grow, but I do not want to be old and decrepit when I'm doing this. I do not want to be a burden on my children. I do not want them to have to take care of me. I want to be self sufficient when possible. I have changed the way that I eat, my lifestyle, on how I do things, the indulgence of things, and what is taken away also mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, physically. But I have a long way to go, and that's okay because it's a journey and it's a process. It's not my job to change your viewpoint. It's not my job to make you see it my way. I actually respect people with different viewpoints and how they live their lives because you live in your truth. It's the hypocrites in which I can't stand. It's the people that preach one thing and they live their life another way. And they're free to do so because hypocrites are necessary for the natural order of things. It's a dichotomy. That, but as being a Libra, we got to be balanced, right? Hot, cold, east, west, north, south. A lot of times we're undecisive because if things don't go in the way that we want to, we won't take risks because we're afraid of failure and we weigh too much. Sometimes I do a lot of thinking. I do a lot of sitting back and analyzing the paralysis of information. I envy a lot of people that like to take the chance and move forward because without great risk, there is no great reward. So as I get into the back nine of my life and it's coming up, I appreciate the universe and I appreciate the trials and the tribulations because they wouldn't make me who I am. I wouldn't be who I was, I wouldn't be who I am, and I wouldn't be who I will be. So as I take my hiatus from my show, the one third show, and I hit you with these random thoughts, I appreciate every last one of you for just listening to me for this hour. As I just basically talked about my life in a condensed version of 40 years of the highlight portions with dates and months. And I do say that the first 40 years of the first 4 decades of my life has been an adventure. But it's not over. Maybe listening to this may help you, or maybe not. But I thank y'all for allowing me to share. And play this last tune on the way out.